Hello, everyone. We're going to get some important news here in Queens today on Monday, January 4th, 2020. A lot we got to get into. If you did not hear, there was a suspicious vehicle found at the Queens Center Mall earlier this morning. The good news is there's some positivity out of that. Everything ended up being fine. There was no explosion. We also need to get into a couple other stuff. The sheriff's office cracked down on a New Year's Eve party here in Queens, so we're going to get into that. Sadly, the gun violence is getting out of hand again. There was a homicide in Kew Gardens. There were a couple other shootings that need to be discussed. We're also going to get into some important news regarding the COVID-19 vaccine hub will be opening in Jamaica. So, I guess they're being progressive when it comes to the minority communities. Because that would, of course, please the de Blasio crowd. And sadly, we do have to discuss our economy. Because the bad news is we lost nearly 200 chain stores during the pandemic, including, yes, Dunkin' Donuts. Now, I don't know if the Dunkin' Donuts by Union Turnpike near 188th Street still open, because I'm thinking, why do we even need two Dunkin' Donuts when we have a Dunkin' Donuts by St. John's? So I never figured out why that ever happened, but being honest, the 188th Street one, it's kind of small. It was meant for takeout only. So, versus the one by St. John's is a decent dining area. But remember, we don't have indoor dining. Alright, so let's get into our first story. So, in here, there was a breaking news story earlier today. There was a suspicious vehicle found by the Queens Center Mall earlier this morning. We will get into this. The NYPD gave the all clear to a suspicious car parked inside the Queens Center Mall. Oh, wait a minute. This was Queens Place. Oh, never mind. So this was in Queens Place, not Queens Center Mall. Yeah, because Queens Place is where Target and Best Buy is. Okay, so they gave an all clear to a suspicious vehicle parked inside the Queens Place Mall shopping center garage on Monday morning. Police sealed off blocks around the Queens Place Mall earlier today while investigating the suspicious vehicle parked in the shopping center's garage. So, Terrence Monahan, the chief of department, said the bomb squad gave the incident an all clear. They are going to investigate this with the 110 precinct, because remember, this is the 110 precinct's jurisdiction, of course. So, let's take a look more into this. So, they said that the mall where Target and Best Buy is to 56th Avenue near Elmhurst, which is correct. It's right by Queens Boulevard. So, my phone was literally going off at 9:30. The Citizen app was notifying me about this. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's the first Monday of the new year, and we already have an incident in Elmhurst. You know, this is something you put in the you cannot make this stuff up department. Alright, so preliminary reports in the Citizen app described the vehicle as a black Tesla which had a propane tank and a battery located inside. The NYPD did not confirm the description, but the bomb squad was on the scene. So again, since this is the 110 jurisdiction because you're on the border of the 112 precinct, they prompted a precautionary evacuation of the Queens Place Mall and a level 1 mobilization that brought out the additional police units along with the FDNY. So there was, of course, heavy police activity. But there's some very interesting stuff that happened during this madness on Queens Boulevard this morning. So they shut down Queens Boulevard between Grand and 57th Avenue, and people inside the neighboring businesses and homes were also told to leave while the investigation was taking place. So look at this. They were actually arguing with the press. So I'm going to have to take a look and see if any other media outlets covered this. Because I know the Daily News did. I know Channel 4 did. They had a picture of the vehicle, and I'll put it in the thumbnail today. Let's just quickly watch this video. Why my desktop audio on? Okay, good. Let me mute my mic for a second.
Of course. I know you're recording me, so you're recording. That's all it is. If something goes wrong here, you get hurt. Then what? Be worried about that. Then what? We're worried about you getting hurt. Don't worry about it. You got to get on the sidewalk, please. This is ridiculous.
So, folks, you just saw that very quickly. I know this is kind of related to the story, but look at this. The Q60 had to be diverted in the express lane of Queens Boulevard this morning. Look at this. Yep, that's the Q60. Wow, that is very rare that the Q60 bus was diverted onto the express roadway of Queens Boulevard and not the local roadway. Because I've taken the Q60 to the mall before. And I will tell you that when you take the Q60, they always go on the local road. So that's an important thing. Why didn't they mention this in the story? The Q60 had to be diverted to the express roadway this morning. Alright, let's continue with the video.
This is ridiculous. No, it's ridiculous that you guys don't follow orders. And that's the problem with society. That's the problem with everyone today. Nobody, everyone wants to do what they want to do.
Just get rid of media.
That's what we ask. We're not asking you. We're asking you to across the street onto the sidewalk. That's what we're asking you to do. It's just to move across the street onto the sidewalk. Everybody's a lawyer. You got all these people and lawyers behind the line. Just please move across the street. That's all we're asking you for, right? You to move across the street. That's it. Onto the sidewalk. You can take your pictures from across the street. That's all we're asking you. Take your pictures from across the street. We're not stopping you from taking your pictures.
Yes, you are. We got shoot for you. I love this. This is great.
We're not asking you that nothing. Obviously you have a very zoom lens. You can have
Yeah,
your picture from across the street.
people.
I don't understand.
You don't, exactly.
You guys always want to be victimized. We're asking you. There were people here earlier. We asked them to move. They nicely moved over.
And now to move over. This is a safe area.
Move over there.
We can't see. It's too far away.
Unreal.
All right.
So a very interesting video that you're only going to see on Annie's Randomness. I'm sorry if it's too small, but if I put it in full screen, it may not look good. So, then, this is where things get interesting. Alright? The New York City Department of Emergency Management at 11:15 this morning claimed the car was deemed a hoax device. And then this is where it gets good. A dog. Yes, you heard me. They rescued a dog. This is a husky. See that? Husky dog. Right there. Rescued that was strapped inside the vehicle. So the Daily News did report that. And then Channel 4, of course, tweeted this out. This is the hoax device. So that is just very scary. I mean, dog inside the vehicle. Just very scary right there. But I'm glad that no explosion. It was a hoax device, but you know, I'm sure somebody's going to be arrested for this anyway, because the last thing you need is somebody to make a prank 911 call and claim there's going to be an explosion in the Queens Center Mall. Or Queens Place, right. That's the last thing you need. So, what a way to start the new year, right? Well, old acquaintance cannot be forgotten because we do have to get into a timeline of the crime before New Year's. And I know people want me to discuss the incident with the lady on Christmas Eve, but that's gotten too much media coverage, and even Channel 11 covered it, so I'm not going to get into that lady who was ran over on Christmas Eve. But I'm going to get into this. This didn't get enough coverage. Man who claimed to be carrying a firearm robbed an eatery in Ridgewood. Let's get into this. So this happened on December 27th. So this happened 2 weeks ago. Actually, no, this happened last week. My bad. Last week. Okay, so this happened at Energy Fuel at 6504 Fresh Pond Road. That offers smoothies, sandwiches, wraps, and salads. At approximately 3:30 p.m. on December 27th, which was last Monday, the thief entered. Once inside, he approached an employee claiming that he was carrying a firearm and demanded money, police said. The employee went to the back room to retrieve money, but then when he returned, the man had left the shop without taking any money or property. About 10 minutes later, the man returned to the store, approached an employee claiming he was carrying a weapon inside his bag and demanded money. The employee complied and gave the man $500 in cash. The man then fled the scene. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. So, Crime Stoppers, give the phone number, 1-800-577-TIPS. In Español, 888-57-74782. Public can also submit their tips by logging onto the Crime Stoppers website, nypdcrimestoppers.com, or on Twitter at nypdtips. So, just going to look up to see where this place is, because I might know where it is. I look it up on a map, then I have a general idea. Let me see. This is in Ridgewood. Yep, I know exactly where this is. Not too far from Elliott Avenue. So, again, why aren't I surprised this is happening? Why aren't I surprised this is obviously happening? Yep, see that? That's Fresh Pond Road. And then you go over here. Yeah, I'll show you the area. Right here. I know this area too well. Go up Fresh Pond. Q38 bus stop. Right there. See? Sadly, I know where this store was. So, again, this is what you have with bail reform. This is exactly what you get. Why aren't I surprised? And then let's get into this. Shootings. Yes, we're going to get into shootings because we got to talk about this. So let's get into the first one. This is the one that made me sick. Right? First hour of the new year, and we have a homicide in Kew Gardens. Yes, you heard me. A homicide in Kew Gardens. One person was killed and 2 others were injured in a shooting at the Umbrella Hotel in Kew Gardens early on Friday morning, January 1st, marking the first homicide of 2021. Officers from the 102nd Precinct responded to a call regarding the shooting just after 1 a.m. Upon the arrival, officers discovered 3 people had been shot. One victim, a 20-year-old male, was shot in the torso, police said, while a 40-year-old male was shot in the torso, arms, and leg. Another 20-year-old man was shot in the leg, according to authorities. EMS arrived at the scene and transported one of the victims, Robert Williams, at 255th Street in Rosedale, to New York City Health and Hospital Queens in Elmhurst, where he was pronounced dead. So again, first homicide victim in New York City in 2021. The 40-year-old man was transported to Jamaica Hospital in critical condition, and the second 20-year-old victim was transported to New York Presbyterian Hospital, Queens, in Flushing in stable condition. Well, I don't want to show you this stuff. So they're looking for 4 perpetrators. The police want to talk to these 4 men who possibly may have been involved in the shooting. Let's see what else we got. Police spokesperson said the shooting victims were together at the hotel and engaged in a dispute with at least 4 people before the shooting. Family and friends, along with former teachers and mentors, joined together on Saturday, January 2nd, to mourn Williams, who was the star quarterback for the Rosedale Jets. So sadly, this was the shooting victim. 20-year-old Robert Williams. And again, there was a vigil outside the hotel in Kew Gardens. And we do have a statement from Queensborough President Donovan Richards, because remember, his office is not too far from where the shooting happened. Today's fatal shooting at the Umbrella Hotel near Queensborough Hall was a sad and troubling way to start the new year, Queensborough President Donovan Richards said in a statement. Whoever was responsible for this heinous crime must swiftly be brought to justice. It is also time for the Umbrella Hotel, which has been already cited for numerous public safety violations, to be shut down. This hotel is a public nuisance that has no place in Kew Gardens or anywhere else in our borough or city. The hotel's guests and residents of the surrounding community should not be subject to its dangerous conditions. So, let's hope Donovan Richards is going to be more vocal about issues in Kew Gardens, because remember, he got elected for a reason. So, Donovan, make sure you're more vocal about this, because bad enough Kew Gardens is already going through enough as it is. This is interesting. Daniel Rosenthal took to Twitter to call on the mayor's office to take down and shut down the hotel, which has been under fire amid a string of violent incidents and was recently hit with more than a dozen violations in the city. There's a link. This is interesting. This goes back to November of last year. Wow. November of 2020. So the hotel is located at 124-18 Queens Boulevard. And believe it or not, yes, I know exactly where this hotel is. Yep. Not too far from the Kew Gardens Union Turnpike train station. It has fire safety violations, including defective fire alarm systems and pumps. I even remembered, I was listening to 1010 Winds, and they were mentioning, they interviewed one of the residents in the area, and they mentioned, you've had troubling incidents at this particular hotel. So, trust me. Listen, I used to be a regular commuter at the Kew Gardens Union Turnpike train station. Believe me, the last thing we need is this hotel to cause more problems. Because again, why do you think this hotel is located in Kew Gardens? Convenient public transportation. Right? Only makes sense. Yeah, see, they even have it in the same article. Oh, look at this. Outgoing Councilwoman Karen Consolwitz said they want to take a look into this. Captain Antonio Versiano are looking into the multi-agency support that will be put to this nonsense. So, whoever's running for city council in that district, because remember, Consolwitz is term limited. She cannot run, thank goodness. So, whoever's running in Kew Gardens, they need to be vocal about shutting this hotel down, because this hotel should not even be open. Especially when I'm going to be commuting later this year back into the city. I mean, this is ridiculous. So we'll move on. Let's get into more shootings, because there's a lot we got to get into. Okay, Queens Village. Here we go. So, man was shot outside in Kew Gardens on Saturday, January 2nd. 5:20 in the morning at 212th Street and 99th Avenue. According to law enforcement sources, the 31-year-old man was sleeping when he heard a loud noise coming from the rear. He got up to investigate. As he did so, someone outside the residence opened fire, striking him in the shoulder. Officers from the 105 precinct and EMS units responded to the home. Paramedics brought the victim to North Shore Hospital for treatment of injuries that were not considering life-threatening. So obviously, we know why this person was probably brought to North Shore. on a normal circumstance, pre-COVID, I would be mad that this person would not be taken to Long Island Jewish. But remember, Long Island Jewish is COVID City. So, if you're going to treat gunshot victims, right, in that particular area of Southeast Queens, where else are you supposed to take them? All the way out in Manassas, where they have more availability. So, I'm not mad that this person was not taken to Long Island Jewish. But sooner or later, there's going to have to be an investigation on why, and probably after the pandemic, why more people aren't being taken to the ER at Long Island Jewish. It's much closer than North Shore. But given the circumstances of coronavirus, I'm not mad for now. As far as a possible suspect, police have not yet provided a possible description of the suspect. Incident was the second lone shooting to occur in New York City. And sadly, there was actually a shooting in Elmhurst. Yeah, I'll get into that, because I couldn't find anything on the Elmhurst shooting. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. There was a shooting in Elmhurst. I couldn't even find anything on the Courier's website. Okay, here we go. Women shot... NYC woman in critical condition after being shot multiple times in Elmhurst. So this happened in broad daylight. Yes, you heard me. This happened in broad daylight. On Saturday afternoon. Okay, understand that. Broad daylight. The victim was shot at 3:45 p.m. at 32-17 97th Street by a man wearing blue jeans and a beige jacket. The woman was taken to Elmhurst Hospital. No further details were immediately available. So it says here the woman was struck in the abdomen. The shooting was the second reported in the borough within 12 hours. So there you go. See? Same problems in 2020 are going into 2021. So let's recap what's going on here. In this calendar year alone of 2021, let's recap. Shooting in Kew Gardens, January 1st. January 2nd, 2 shootings. One in Queens Village, one in East Elmhurst. Does this not make you want to yell at the top of your lungs? Certainly, I don't want to yell at the top of my lungs anymore, because certainly this is the way it works in New York. This is like those old Western movies, right? Old Western movies. You either live or you die. This is the way it ends up. And the problem is, you're in a progressive state like New York. You can't get a firearm to protect yourself. So now, you're basically double-crossed. Because you're going to have to go through a background check. I mean, in a normal circumstance, let's say the crime-ridden days of New York 40, 50 years ago, you could just get a firearm to protect yourself. Now you can't even do that. So, on a normal circumstance, that's what people would be doing. Trust me, if there's more shootings in the 5 boroughs, you're going to see more people go to the Hudson Valley and Long Island and get firearms. Trust me, it's a given. It's a given. You wait and see. Because people are going to have enough of this. Alright? You have every right to self-defense. The laws should be laxed. But no, Cuomo doesn't want that. You're not allowed to self-defend yourself. So trust me. Courtrooms are going to be packed this year. You wait and see. If this bail reform does not get changed. Because somebody should just do something about it. But we're going to read more. So there was a shooting in New Year's Eve. Happened in Jamaica. 113-08 Sutton Boulevard at 7:30 p.m. So this was the last reported homicide in 2020. So 26-year-old Sean Fance was killed. He was pronounced dead at Jamaica Hospital Medical Center, officially the last homicide of 2020. Okay, so let's get into other news. Illegal New Year's bash where hundreds gathered in Maspeth bar was shut down. So here we go. So this happened in Maspeth. 4 individuals were arrested at the illegal rave for various violations of health and safety codes, as well as emergency orders related to the coronavirus pandemic. At 2 a.m. on January 1st, deputies figuratively turned out the lights on more than 300 people gathered for a New Year's bash at the Maspeth Lounge at 55-30 58th Street in Maspeth. The party violated city and state COVID-19 emergency orders, which prohibit gatherings of more than 10 people inside locations and forbid alcohol service at any location after 10 p.m. The owner faces fines up to $15,000. Alright, so, location also lacked the proper license to serve and store liquor, as well as an obstructed eagerness and various other health code violations. The deputies also saw more than 25 people enter the premises through an emergency exit that had been locked from the outside. More than 300 people inside the location drank, sang karaoke, and danced without serving masks and social distancing requirements. The remaining partygoers at the lounge were sent home. Oh boy, this is interesting. 4 individuals were taken into custody on various charges related to the operation of the illegal battle club. Man Fun, age 37 of Franklin Square, was identified as the bar owner. He Bing Wong, 37 of Franklin Square, Fan's wife. Shuri Lin, 44 of Fresh Meadows, was a DJ. And Vang Su, 35 of Borough Park, Brooklyn, employee. So, by the way, folks, I want to mention something very important. Remember that Little Neck restaurant that hosted Vicky Palladino's so-called Republican thing? Well, guess what? Shut down! Let's read this. Queens restaurant that hosted a large holiday party with Maxwell's patrons had its liquor license suspended for violating several COVID-19 regulations and other health safety... hang on. I do apologize. Health safety laws, state authorities announced last Thursday. El Baco Restaurante in Little Neck was thrust into the limelight in recent weeks after a video emerged online showing a large group of Maxwell's partiers, including City Council candidate Vicky Palladino, dancing in a conga line to the Bee Gees You Should Be Dancing during a gathering organized by the Whitestone Republican Club, led by Vicky Palladino. So, sorry to bring her name up 3 times, but you're going to be a fool during a pandemic, you're going to get called out. At the time of the party, indoor dining was open at 25% capacity. It was in compliance with state guidance. So, here's something interesting. The New York State Liquor Authority said it yanked the restaurant's liquor license last Thursday following an investigation that was launched in response to the viral video. The SLA said in a statement, during a follow-up investigation, and I'll move this down so you can see it. Ooh, this is karma right here. I'm sorry to say this, but let me just read the statement. Investigators found vagrant violations of indoor dining regulations and existing health and safety alcohol beverage control laws, which verifying the Maslic's party depicted in the video did in fact occur. So, get this! Somebody was hospitalized! Wow! Why aren't I surprised about this? And look at this. The Queens Daily Eagle reported that 3 people, my bad, it says 3 people got tested positive after attending this foolish party, not wearing a mask. I'll tell you how you got this. You got this because you're in a room with other people that were not wearing a mask. Ah, see what I mean? See what I mean? So, the Republicans just blew their chance winning that district. Wow. There is no way they're winning this district. Not after this video. Look at this. Oh, this is just too good. James Trent, he's affiliated with this Republican club. He was admitted to the North Shore University Hospital in Manhasset. Ah. Yeah, because you're in a room with people who weren't wearing masks. And you probably weren't wearing a mask either. Ugh. So look at this. Another attendee and his wife also tested positive. So, yes, so privacy reasons, obviously. See, here we go. At least somebody's being responsible. Queens County Republican Chairwoman Joanna Rolla said her organization decided not to have a party. So, there you go. Be smart. Not stupid. Okay, Mayor de Blasio, during his daily COVID briefing, announced today that there will be 3 vaccine hubs open in New York City in unprivileged communities. One of the hubs will be at Hillcrest High School. Another will be open at Bushwick Education Campus in Brooklyn and South Bronx Educational Campus, the mayor said during his daily COVID-19 briefing. So here we go. It says the mayor announced last week that he wants to have 1 million people in New York City vaccinated, which I don't know how this is going to be possible. Because the problem is the new administration's not coming in for another 2 weeks. So you have to wait until the Biden administration does something in the federal level to do something about this. And then you have to figure out what's going to happen in Georgia tomorrow with Reverend Warnock and Ossoff. So, this is something interesting. Hubs will be set up in places like school gymnasiums with priority to be given to 27 neighborhoods hardest hit by the coronavirus pandemic. By the way, I know this is unrelated, but is the FDA having a public hearing on AstraZeneca? Because this is... I know it's the first Monday of the new year, but, FDA hearing. I'm just Googling it just to see if anything comes up. Right. Here we go. Let's see what it says here. No, not it. Because we know AstraZeneca was approved in the UK. That was big news. Let's see what it says here. Okay, Wednesday, December 30th, the United Kingdom gave emergency use authorization to use the AstraZeneca vaccine. So, that's the main thing. Now remember, you also have a new strain called B117. And in Colorado, a person was discovered to have it. And then recently, almost 100 plus employees tested positive in an In-N-Out burger. So I'll just mention that. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Let's see. The FDA will not rule on the vaccine before next week. So, there's a chance the week of January 11th we may hear something from the FDA. So, I'll be following up with them on that. By the way, I just want to look up to see where Hillcrest High School is. Okay, here we go. So, I know exactly where Hillcrest High School is. It's by Parsons Boulevard and Hillside Avenue. So again, if you are in Jamaica and you are an essential worker, you might want to take advantage of this. I know there's controversy with Jamaica, but remember, Jamaica is an unprivileged area because of the demographics of Latinos and blacks. So that's why the mayor's probably, again, targeting that demographic. Alright, 2 more stories we're going to get into. Queens has lost 200 chain stores, the 3rd largest decline in New York City. So, the State of the Chains report, 11% drop in chain stores. So it says 1,000 chain stores across New York City closed temporarily or permanently, or nearly 1 in every 7 locations that were open at the time last year. 198 chain stores shut their doors down over the past year. The report shows several Queens zip codes lost nearly a fifth of the chain stores that were open at the time last year. So let's see. Interesting. Alright, so JFK lost a lot of stores. Wow. Springfield Gardens, Flushing, Maspeth, Astoria, Bayside, Far Rockaway, and 2 zip codes in Flushing. The biggest drop was Metro PCS. They lost 41 stores. Sprint lost 23 stores. Duane Reade lost 10, along with Modell's. 9 CVS locations closed. Subway lost 8 stores. We lost 8 Rite Aids, 5 Baskin Robbins, 4 Abonpans. Wait a minute, hang on. How could Abonpan close if it's in Long Island Jewish? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, maybe for indoor dining, but not for takeout. I'm pretty sure the nurses and doctors were able to do takeout at Long Island Jewish. That doesn't sound right to me. Okay, 4 Burger Kings were lost, 4 Dunkins lost, 4 Starbucks, 3 AT&Ts, and 3 mattress firms. I bet, yeah, Victoria's Secret probably was temporarily shut down in the Queens Center Mall. So, this is just sad to even get into, but yikes. Also, don't forget, we lost Century 21. And, not to mention, we still do not know when the new IKEA is opening in Rego Park. I didn't know Burlington opened a new location in Long Island City. Well, at least the one in Glen Oaks is still open. Alright, lastly, we're going to get into my former city councilman, James Gennaro, running on an independent party line because this is a last-minute election. As many of you know, my old councilman, Rory Lantzman, resigned to take a job in the Cuomo administration. So, this interview was done during New Year's Eve. I just want to mention, if you are in City Council District 24, which includes parts of South Flushing, Fresh Meadows, west of 185th Street, because again, I live west of 185th to be specific. What else? I'm trying to think. What else is in District 24? Right, so it's basically just parts of Fresh Meadows and South Flushing. You will have a special election to vote on February 2nd. Check the Board of Elections website because I found out from my boss at Passengers United, Charlton D. Souza, since he's also a poll worker, he told me that that's the best way to get any information from the mayor's office regarding the New York City Board of Elections. So, hopefully the absentee process will be available as soon as possible because I am planning to do the absentee. But the good news is my polling place doesn't get that crowded, so I have a plan B just in case if that doesn't happen. So, here we go. James Gennaro is trying to reclaim his old city council seat. He was term limited in 2013, so that's why Roy Lantzman became our city councilman. So let's get into this. So, the reason why, remember, he was term limited. He went to the Department of Environmental Conservation as Deputy Commissioner for New York City Sustainability and Resiliency. 7 years later, he wants his old job back. So I will mention in this picture, if you look him up on Wikipedia, he actually did an interview with Dan Rather from CBS News. So that's interesting right there. So James had mentioned that he wants to do a lot more work. So I'll just mention that. So again, I will mention something very important about James that I know very well about him. He was my councilman when I first moved to Fresh Meadows in 2005. So that's how I know about James. And that's why I want the familiarity of James back in the council, of course, just personal preference. There is a Republican running, supposedly, from what I've heard. But stay tuned to this channel. We will have a voting guide for the candidates in District 24 sometime later this month. So we will do a video on the candidates, giving you their backgrounds, giving you an idea. But to go into James' background, he raised the smoking limit from 18 to 21. So again, Roy Lantzman resigned in November to begin a new post as Special Counsel for Ratepayer Protection within the Cuomo administration. This is interesting. So if you get an absentee, Gennaro's name will say James F. Okay. So here's the thing. Whoever wins this election on Tuesday, February 2nd, will have a special term until December 31st. Shall the person, whoever wins, they in fact can, and I must stress, can run in the November general election, because remember, this year, all city council seats are up for grabs. So remember, Paul Ballone and Karen Kotzowitz, for an example, are term limited, so they're going to have new representatives sometime later this year, of course. So that's important to note. So, budget. And I'm not really going to get into this right now, but I just wanted to quickly go into So Bloomberg actually wanted to raise taxes. I just wanted to see that. So again, he has a good chance. He has a good chance, but remember, this is a very complicated district, so we'll just go into the map very quickly. I don't want to get into the issues right now, because again, we'll have a specific voting guide coming up later on this month. So keep in mind, in District 24, you have parts of Flushing, parts of Briarwood, and then you have parts of Fresh Meadows. So keep that in mind. And again, I'm west of 185th Street, so that's why I am in this district. So that's what makes it very complicated, why I'm not in the district in this part of Fresh Meadows. So it makes it very complicated in terms of where I would vote. But again, I know my polling place. It's west of Utopia Parkway. So that's why it makes it very complicated. So with that, we're going to wrap everything up here. So thank you all very much for watching. We're continuing with our 2020 problems going into 2021. And it's still going to be a very long year. But stay tuned for more updates on this channel, because we are going to make sure that we talk about our problems and it gets discussed on this channel. So that being all said, thank you all for watching. Until the next one, please take care.